Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today I'm going to be talking about feeling overwhelmed and under pressure in the perimenopause and menopause. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. So from trying to manage all the symptoms you're experiencing in the perimenopause and the menopause, to feeling under pressure because of just everything that's going on in your life, it can be very easy to feel overwhelmed, and that in itself can cause a lot of issues in your daily life. So today I'm going to look at what can cause this particular series of feelings and what you can do to help yourself. So the causes, they can be really basic ones, just, the number of symptoms you may be experiencing. And for a lot of you, it's not just one symptom you have to cope with. If we have a cold or we get an infection, we're just dealing with one thing. But in the perimenopause and menopause, you can have a range of symptoms that are all happening on a daily basis. And that can be very physically overwhelming, never mind what else might be going on. You might find that you're just not able to handle pressure like you did before. You might feel more overwhelmed much quicker on in something that you're trying to do, maybe something at work. So you're finding it more difficult to cope generally with day-to-day pressures. It can also be feeling overwhelmed in certain situations that before, you wouldn't even blink at. And that can be quite distressing when that finally happens. It can be your hormones, in the perimenopause and menopause, especially at the beginning of the menopause, your hormones can go up and down on a daily basis. So one day you can be feeling great, you can feel as if you can cope with the whole world. And the next day, suddenly it just feels like you've had the rug pulled out from underneath your feet and you can't cope with anything. So that emotional roller coaster can really take it out of you as well. It can be a combination of other things too. If you've got poor sleep, if you've got fatigue, if you've got brain fog or memory issues, you're going to be more prone to stress anyway, because your body is going to be physically weaker and more vulnerable to all the sorts of things that are going on. So this can all happen on a daily basis. So you might find that you're juggling with daily tasks that, as I say, never used to bother you. You might have been really methodical, writing everything down and just doing one thing after another without even thinking. And you may find now that you're not even a quarter of a way down your list and suddenly you're starting to panic. You might feel that you've not got enough time, you're not doing it well enough. You might find that you're not able to multitask anymore, or you might find that you're getting a lot more angry, frustrated and irritable with yourself as well as with other people. You might find too that you're overwhelmed at home, because we tend to be the ones that organise everything. We organise everyone else in the household. We make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And suddenly we're overwhelmed with everything. And then the other people might be getting annoyed because you're forgetting to remind them to do things. And very often other people aren't any help. You're doing everything for everybody, including yourself. And of course, when that happens, you can then find that you're getting annoyed too and frustrated because you're not getting the help that you feel that you need. It could be pressure at work. And again, if you're having memory issues, if you're having brain fog, if you're really tired and not sleeping well, then work can suffer too. And there's this sort of loss of confidence. So if you're one of those people where you're having to deal with the public, where you're having to deal with maybe staff in your team, and suddenly your confidence is going, that can have a huge impact on the way that you feel as well. It can be shopping. So many of you tell me that just the thought of going into a supermarket now brings you out in a panic because the crowds and the noise can be really overwhelming. It can be socializing too. It may well be that you used to go out with friends a lot, and now just the thought of having to dress up and go out the front door just fills you with horror and kind of panic and maybe fear. And it can be new tasks as well. So it could be a new job. You know, this is a big one from what you tell me as well, that going into a new job, you can feel loss of confidence. You can just feel that you're not able to cope and you're going to fail before you've even started. It could be driving new routes. It could even be just, you know, you've got a new car, you've got to learn to drive a new car. So all these new tasks can put extra pressure on you as well. So the really important thing here is to support your emotional health, because if you can get that under control, then you're going to find it much easier to deal with all this extra pressure. So remember, education is the key. If you understand why something is happening, so if you're feeling overwhelmed and you suddenly go, oh right, it's because I'm doing too much, I'm not sleeping, I'm fatigued, people are not helping me, then it makes it much easier to deal with. So there's so much out there now, you know, compared to when I started doing all this a few years ago. There's so much on the internet. There's loads of groups. There's, you know, even myself talking about things that maybe wouldn't have been talked about a few years ago. So get that information, get that help, read books, join groups, even online groups or local groups. You know, there's these menopause cafes that are springing up all over the place, which is an absolutely fabulous idea. Do what I call the menopause basics. Remember, your body is going through huge physical changes and your body needs good nutrition and lots of it in order to give your body everything that it needs to cope with all these changes going on. So well-balanced diet, make sure that you're getting hydrated, really, really important. Regular exercise. If sleep is an issue, then try and get that sorted, because a bad night's sleep is going to give a huge amount of pressure and just compounds everything the following day. Stress management, really important. We get stressed and overwhelmed much more easily than we did before, just purely because our nervous system is having a lot more to cope with. So remember, the mindfulness, meditation, that 30 minutes me time that I'm always going on about, it is vital. It's not a luxury. And so many people tell me that they feel so much better just having that little bit of time to themselves. We also have our lovely Passiflora spray. This is a nice one to take out and about with you. So if you feel that your shopping or driving is putting you under a lot of pressure, then a couple of sprays in the mouth is one way of getting some of that extra support. Look at magnesium. So support your nervous system with physical things like magnesium. Magnesium is needed for everything, and it can help to stabilize your nervous system. It's also good for the memory. It's good for sleep. It's good for your joints. So really important to get that extra magnesium in as well. You could also look at our perimenopause focus tablets. So this contains magnesium, zinc, which is known to help with cognitive function. So if you're finding that brain fog an issue, then zinc can be very helpful. And it's got the herb passion flower in it, which is a lovely gentle herb for supporting the nervous system. And also seek support, get help. If you're having issues at home because you can't cope with everything, talk to those that you're living with, get them to help you that little bit more. Talk to your family, talk to your friends. If you're at work and you're under a lot of pressure, then talk to HR. An awful lot of companies now are realizing that they have to have some kind of menopause plan in place for their employees. If you don't have one at your work, then that's the time you need to speak to your HR department. Set up a group. If you don't find any groups in your local area, set one up yourself. Maybe find a little local cafe and invite a few friends to come along, and it's going to help you, it's going to help your friends, And, you know, it's going to help little businesses as well. So you're doing lots of goodness, spread the word around. Don't multitask. And I know I always say multitasking should be banned in the perimenopause and menopause. We're so bad at trying to take everything on board and do everything and be superwoman. And it really doesn't help us physically or emotional. So try not to multitask and learn to say no. We're all so bad at that. I mean, I'm bad as well at work. Someone will say, will you? And I'll go, yes, before I even know what it is. You know, and then a week down the line, I'm going, why did I say yes to that? So, you know, learning to say no is a really good thing for yourself. And most people will take it in good grace anyway. And be kind to yourself. Don't put all that extra pressure on yourself. We're so bad at doing that and then feeling guilty because we can't even live up to our own expectations. So it's really important that we allow ourselves time to get through the perimenopause and menopause with support from ourselves as well. When should you seek medical advice? If you find that you really can't cope, if getting up in the morning is an issue, if you find that you've had to stop your work because you can't cope, or your relationships with anybody is really suffering because you just can't cope, then please do go and speak to your doctor. Don't suffer in silence. Don't be superwoman here and try and do it all. There's lots of help out there, if not from your doctor. There are therapists. You can learn to do things like CBT, NLP and EFT. And these are all strategies that you can learn to do for yourself to help yourself through being overwhelmed and under pressure. So I hope you found this one helpful. It's a really big one, you know, and I still put myself under pressure, even though I'm telling everybody not to. So it's a difficult one to really get to grips with. If you have done something that's really helped you, or is there something that you're really struggling with at the minute, please share with us. You know how much I'd love to read all the stories and your tips and all the things that you can pass on to other people. And I will see you next week. Have a lovely week.